Good evening. Good evening.
I think it's just me and you, Brian, so far.
Oh, yes, I believe so. Looks like Deborah had joined in. She disconnected a little while ago. Let's see here.
I'm going back on mute.
Okay.
You're not about to watch the count. Ooh,
All right, Madam President, it is 7 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Mr. Secretary. It is 7 p.m. or 7:01 p.m. I am calling to order this regular meeting of the Board of Directors. And I'm sorry, trying to bring up my agenda. Mr. Secretary, can you proceed with the roll call?
Yes. LaShawna Spencer,
Present.
Thomas McKeithen II,
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Brian Creighton Sr., present.
Okay, I am going to first, do you hear that fan? Do you hear my fan?
I do not.
Okay, good. It's loud to me, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't causing interference. The next agenda item is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, which was May 25th. I would like to make a motion to table this. We are trying to work out how to post the recording for that meeting. So I'd like to make a motion to table those minutes.
I second it.
I would amend the motion to table it to a time certain.
Okay,
And so my recommendation will be we table it until give us until the we might not need this long, until the last meeting of the second meeting of the Board of Directors in July, whatever that date that is.
Okay,
let me,
It'll be the fourth Wednesday in July.
the fourth Wednesday in July would
I think
be
that's
fourth Wednesday in July. The 27th.
Yep. And if we get
I'm
it done
sorry.
sooner.
I'm sorry, I need to interject. According to our meeting cadence, we would be meeting on July 20th, not the 27th.
Okay, that's fine. Did I
So are
mess
we
that
going to
up?
change the
No,
meeting
no.
cadence? Or-
No.
Okay.
I meant you got it right.
Okay.
So whatever the last one is, so it's the 20th. If we get it done sooner, we get it done sooner, but
Okay, so we have an amended motion.
So Madam President, go ahead and say the full amended motion.
The full amended motion would be to table the approval of the May 25th Board of Director meeting minutes until our meeting on July 20th to allow time to figure out the technical parameters for uploading the recording of the meeting. Can I get a second?
I second that.
And then go ahead and vote.
And open for discussion. Do we need to discuss it?
No discussion necessary.
Okay.
And then vote.
Motion. So I vote to table these minutes. If each director would please vote in the affirmative. Do I have any objections?
No objections.
Thomas, shake your head. I know you're not feeling well. No objections. Okay, so the motion has passed. Mrs. Secretary, I do, before I wanted to get into that, I did want to ask you, I apologize, if you could please go over the meeting procedures for motions, et cetera, so we can make sure that we're all on the same page. I've been asking you to keep me in order. So if you can outline the process that we're supposed to go through when discussing subjects and voting on them.
Oh, Madam President. The Brentwood Homeowners Association Incorporated Board of Directors are using Robert's Rules of Order. And Robert's Rules of Order provides us guidance on how to make motions, amend motions, and run meetings. However, Robert's Rules of Order also provides a guideline, an abbreviated guideline in case there are a very small number of board members, and we are a board of 3. So therefore, we are going to be using a abbreviated version of Robert's Rules of Order. When a motion comes, when a board member.
I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can everyone please mute their phone? I'm having a hard time hearing. So the homeowners that are on the line, if you could please mute your line. There will be an opportunity towards the end of the meeting for you to address the board, but until then, we request that you mute your line. Thank you.
Thank you. So a board member will ask to be acknowledged by the chairperson. The chairperson will acknowledge the board member. The board member will then proceed to place their motion in front of the board. There could be a second. A second does not mean that it is a majority vote. A second means that it is open for the next section, which would be discussion or questions. Once that period is over, then the board will then, the chairperson, the president will ask for a vote. Each board member will give their vote. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. So that way the vote can be recorded properly. If there is no second to a motion, that motion then dies. It can then be brought up later. Is there any other thing you'd like me to cover?
No, sir, that was it. I just wanted to make sure we reviewed that and ask you to make sure you keep me on point. So I'm doing everything properly so it can be recorded properly. So if I'm not going in the right direction, just re-guide me, interrupt me, and put me back on track. Thomas, did you have any questions regarding the procedures? He's shaking his head no. Okay. Thomas is doing head shakes this evening for those that are listening in. He is not feeling well, but he trooped his way into the meeting anyway. So normally we would require voice, but we are taking his head gestures this evening as his official votes. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the ARC Gmail account. So we had our previous ARC chair resign, and each of the committees have an email account. We have not been able to obtain the information to access that account, and therefore the HOA has not had access to that email account since May 18th, mid-May. And the homeowners, my concern is that homeowners are still emailing that account. we have no idea what's in that account for action. So I would like to make a motion that we notify communications to send out a message notifying homeowners to discontinue the use of that email address. And that we as a board create a new ARC email address so that we have access to it. And at the time that a new ARC chair is appointed, then we would turn that email account over to them, still having the login information so that we have access to it. That is my motion.
I second it.
Do we need to have a discussion?
No, I'm fine. Ryan, you okay?
Okay, so I'm gonna move on with the vote. All in favor, aye. I see a head shake, 2 head shakes, all opposed, none. The motion has passed. So, I will take the lead on that, and work with the communications chair to get that messaging out and the new email address. The next item on the agenda, I'm going to acknowledge Brian for the next item on the agenda.
Good afternoon, Madam President and Treasurer. I make a motion to take the residential leasing resolution off the table and bring it before the board tonight for action and a vote.
A second.
Any discussion?
No discussion from me. Thomas is shaking his head no, I think.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We'll take a vote.
Okay, so I vote yes,
I vote
in
yes.
favor. Thomas shook his head yes.
Okay, great. Madam President, I make a motion to amend the Brentwood Homeowners Association Incorporated leasing policy. Number 2, section number 2 be changed from the current statement to any owner who leases his dwelling must do so on a written lease and shall provide a copy of such lease and all lease addendums to the association if requested. Also, change number 3, removing the words Charles County, Maryland, and replace with and local, county, and state statutes, ordinances, and laws.
Brian, I have a question.
Do we
Okay.
need the second,
need to
does he need
second
the
this one?
second first?
Yes, you need to second.
Okay,
And then all questions will be directed to the president.
Let me second. I'm going to second your motion, but I'm going to second your motion just so we can kind of get there. I'll second your motion.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up for discussion.
All right, so I'm okay with number 3. I don't think I have a problem with number 3. Number 2, what's the reason? What's the existing language? Is that where the existing language is what now?
Brian, can you read the existing language for number 2?
Yes. 5 days after a lease is fully executed, the lot owner shall provide a copy of the executed lease to the association, and if the lease is amended, provide the association executed copies of said amendments.
So I'm trying to understand what's the reason for the change. Because
So-
right now, the association can request the release. I mean, can request the lease. What the intent was to put it so that we can automatically request the lease. I'm not sure what this does. This
So-
just did number two. The way that the way it's written now, it says that you have to provide a copy of the lease. Your change says if we're going to request the release. Excuse me. The
Now-
lease.
So Madam President, the current language in the CCR actually has where I'll read directly from the CCR. Under residential use leasing, all dwellings shall be used for private and residential purposes exclusively. Any owner who leases his dwelling must do so on a written lease and shall provide a copy of such lease to the association if requested. So I'm not changing, I'm actually amending what.
Still need to work because it's the end of the year. You have to work into it.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm not changing the language that is currently in the CCR. I'm amending the language that was created and needed to be voted on in order to make the change.
Okay, so from my understanding, you just read what was currently in our governing documents, and it says that upon request, a homeowner will provide a copy of the lease. In the proposed policy that is on the floor for discussion right now, it states that the homeowner shall be required to provide a copy of the lease within 15 days. I think it says 15 days.
Within 5 days.
5 days, I'm sorry, within 5 days. So your motion, Brian, is to change the language to make it align with the governing documents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the existing language doesn't change. It what we were trying to do is what we were attempting to do was to put a process in place for obtaining that information, so that we can know which properties within the community are leased. We already have the authority to request the lease. In the preamble to this, it kind of ties back to the decks and covenants. What this does is put some time frames around, when you provide it to the board or whatever it is. I mean, when you provide it to the association.
Well, I think so. One, I think the item is the way that it's worded now. We are requiring homeowners to provide a copy of their lease, but according to the bylaws, it says that they're required to provide it upon request, meaning that we may or may not request it. So from my understanding, it seems like the amendment would remove that automatic requirement to provide the lease to the association, and to fulfill the association's need to know how many houses are being leased in the community. Number one of that same resolution states that the homeowner is required to notify the association of when their residence is no longer their primary dwelling place, provide their forwarding information, address, etc., and also the name and information of the person that is leasing the house. So I think your one concern is covered in number 1 of that resolution. So I think the only sticking point right now is whether or not we're going to require, just as policy, require all homeowners to provide a copy of their lease.
Okay, I see your point. I see your point. Brian, can I amend your number 2? Would you be open to the amendment of your number 2, where you have if requested, but put it so if the associations requested it today, I would be more comfortable with a time frame around it.
So the
So what I'm
amended,
saying is, we would take your language. You say if requested within 15 days.
All right.
so
let me-
the amended, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So the amended motion is going to be any owner who leases his dwelling must do so on a written lease and shall provide a copy of such lease and all lease addendums to the association if requested within 15
days.
15 days.
I think that accomplishes what we want to accomplish. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, so
Now, one second, while we're here, 1 second. Can we look at number 1 for a second while we here?
Well, hold on.
You want to do that one first?
Because we have a motion on the table. We
Okay,
can't.
all right.
All right.
so regarding number 2, and then we'll go back to number 1 in a second, but regarding number 2, the amended motion on the floor is to change the language to take out the requirement, the blanket requirement for homeowners to provide a copy of their lease, and change the language to align with the governing documents to state if the association requests a copy of the lease, and that the homeowner would provide a copy of that lease within 15 days.
Yep.
Correct. And
Okay.
then, I'm sorry, and then also the same motion had number 3 in it, which took out the words Charles County, Maryland, and replaced those words with and local, county, and state statutes, ordinances, and laws.
Okay. Let's go move forward and take a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Head shake, none opposed, motion passed on items number 2 and 3. And then Thomas, you wanted to make a motion to discuss number 1. You have
Yeah,
the
I just
floor.
want to look at number 1 and make sure we have a time frame when
There is a time frame, Madam President. There is a time frame on number 1. I will read number 1. The homeowner shall provide written notice to the association via its managing agent within 15 days of the lot dwelling unit is no longer being occupied as a primary residence by the lot owner. The notice shall include the mailing address, phone number, and email address of the lot owner, as well as the name, email address, and phone number of the leasee.
Okay, I thought that's what we did. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
So I have a clarifying question, Mrs. Secretary. I'm not sure how to enter my question. So you can tell me if I'm doing this appropriately, but I have a question concerning the timeframes addressed in number 1 and number 2. Are those calendar days, business days?
That's a very good question. It's undefined. So if you would like to define it, then yes, we can go back and redefine whether it is calendar days or business days.
Usually when you see days like that, it's calendar days, unless it's otherwise specified. But if you want to,
Correct.
but if you want to specify it, we can. In
Okay,
both
so
places.
Okay, so I make a motion to specify, because I think it would be important for homeowners to know, since we're specifying days or a length of time or a time requirement, I think it would be helpful to know whether or not that is business days or calendar days. So I make a motion to go back to items number 1 and 2 and specify whether or not we are speaking about calendar days or business days.
So what we would do, Lashana, in number 1, we would, where it says 15 days, we would just insert parentheses calendar. And that fixes it for the rest of the document. So everywhere you see days, you know that we're speaking in terms of calendar. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. That's the fix.
So you second my motion?
Oh, yeah, I got you. We
Okay.
second. Oh, come on, y'all.
All right.
I'm making this too difficult. Come on.
Okay, so any further discussion needed?
Yes, I think there's further discussion needed. Give me a second here. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
Bear with me just a minute. That's fine. No discussion on my part.
Okay, so I would like to move into the voting. All in favor of making the day requirement account calendar days as opposed to business days, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
None opposed, the motion passes. Moving on to the next agenda item is the art and maintenance resolution. I want to make a motion that we select a date for the 3 of us to get together to sign this resolution. Per the attorney's guidance, it needs a wet signature. And that would also apply to the residential leasing policy that we passed. So I would like to make a motion to, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I believe the leasing policy needs to go back to the attorney since we've changed the language.
Okay,
Is that
you're
correct?
correct. Yes, you're correct. So this would only apply to the ARC and the maintenance resolution, which we passed, we voted on and passed during our May 25th meeting. So I'd like to make a motion that we select a date for the 3 of us to get together and sign this. Per the attorney, it needs a wet signature, then it needs to be distributed to all of the homeowners, and then the original sent to the attorney for filing.
I second that motion.
I got a question. Sorry. Can we sign both of them concurrently?
You had stepped away for a second.
I'm sorry.
With the changes to the residential leasing policy, I believe we're gonna have to send that back to the attorney to change that wording. So that would have to be changed before we signed it.
So what my recommendation would be is to send that so that so that we don't have to meet twice about the same things. If you all agree, I recommend that we send this back. My recommendation would be we send this back to her and give her time to change it. I mean, she should be able to change that in a week and turn it and send it back. And then we get together upon receipt. So if we say we're gonna send it to her tomorrow, just play this out. Say we're gonna give it to her tomorrow. We want it back next Thursday. Then we meet. I think our next meeting is on the 22nd. You see what I'm trying to do, Lashana? I'm trying to get us to, we can only sign, we have to sign these once. And we don't have to, you know. I love to see y'all. I really do. But I'm trying to be efficient.
Uh,
Don't you laugh.
Brian, you had your hand up.
Yes, Madam President. I actually have a different strategy. I would say that we can sign the maintenance standard ARC guidelines tonight by just driving to, our residents and signing them, and it's done, as opposed to just holding it off and just waiting. I think we just need to go ahead and get this signed, within the next 48 hours.
All right.
Okay, so y'all gonna make me be the tiebreaker.
Look,
We can shove it with a stick under Thomas's door because he's sick and I don't want to catch whatever he has.
Well, he'll be
listen,
the last one to sign.
listen, I've got a version already signed. I had already signed it because we didn't make any changes to the thing. So,
No,
wanna
we
come-
need to redo that, I think, because that has
It has a date.
no.
another
Oh,
signature.
it does. No, nobody signed it. It's never. Oh, you know what? It does. So whatever. Just stick it in my mailbox. Put it in the envelope. Stick it in my mailbox.
Okay, so Thomas will be last.
Thomas will be last.
And then you want me to just mail it to her,
Yes.
Lashana? I'll own that.
Okay, so can you mail it to the attorney?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the motion is that we are going to sign the ARC and maintenance resolution this evening. Thomas is going to be, are you gonna be able to mail this, or do you want it to come back to me? I know that you have been very busy lately.
We'll talk about it.
I'll just do it.
You do it.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right.
I'll mail it. I'll mail
Okay.
it.
All right.
Okay,
Good.
so the motion is that this evening, we are going to sign the ARC maintenance resolution. I'll be the last signature and I will make sure that it gets mailed to the attorney and also sent out to all the homeowners. All in favor?
Yes.
Thomas shook his head, none opposed. The motion has passed. Okay,
Wait, Lashana, can I make a motion on the other one? Or no?
on which
The
one?
residential lease one? Or were we doing that later? Since we
Oh,
were
I think you
dealing with
already made a motion.
No, my motion for the residential lease one, no, I kind of said it, but I didn't make a motion. So for the residential lease one, I don't really think it has to go back to the attorney, Lashana. I think it's in the PDF and it should be editable, but if you want to send it back, fine.
I will check.
So my recommendation is that if we send it back to the attorney, we give her a week to turn it around. That's not hard. It's 2 changes. And that we, upon receipt of the updated file, we sign it and mail it back to her.
Okay, I second. So the motion is to check with the attorney. I will check with the attorney to see if it's necessary for those 2 changes to be sent back to the attorney. And I will facilitate that, and then we will get it signed after that. All in favor?
Yes.
Hearing none opposed, the motion has passed. The next item on the agenda, I am going to turn the floor over to Brian.
Thank you, Madam President. Safety and security recommendation for community signage. Madam President, I make a motion that the board of directors create guidelines and policy to implement community-based signs for areas of concern, such as community entrances, pavilion, tot lots, and stormwater management ponds, and anywhere else the board of directors may deem necessary.
I second and open for discussion.
Well, I guess the question is guidelines. Can you provide more clarity in terms of what you want, what the goal is here?
Uh,
I think I understand what you mean, but I'm not.
Right. So the guidelines and policy would allow the board of directors to implement posted signs, such as in the pavilion area. We'll just take the pavilion tot lot area as an example. We could, in order to curtail after hours loitering or trespassing, we could post a sign that says no trespassing, no loitering, no littering. All visitors and residents must exit the pavilion from dusk till dawn, in order to better manage the amount of litter, broken bottles, just, people going in there and kind of destroying the area.
So the guidelines is. Oh, go ahead, Lashana.
Oh, I was just gonna ask some clarifying questions. So for example, one sign I know I've seen in another community, for example, maybe the pavilion would be no usage after dusk or something like that. And you're proposing that the board develop those types of guidelines and send them out to the homeowners?
Well, you could send them out to the homeowners, but most importantly, just go ahead and create the policy and guidelines in order for us to be able to post signs and have Charles County Sheriff's Office enforce those guidelines and policies that the HOA, will have in place.
So I'm sorry, so you're saying the first step would be for us to create the policies, then go about creating the signage, making the homeowners aware, and then requesting Charles County Sheriff's Office to help enforce those policies?
Yes, so the first, I believe the first item of, the first action item should be that the board develop, a guideline or policy around, of course, these signs, to make sure that we're within our jurisdiction, from a legal perspective. We can all, vet that through the attorney. And then once we have confirmation, then get with the CAM and have the CAM provide us with some templates of signs that they have used in other communities, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then also get homeowners input. Maybe even have a discussion during a board meeting about what homeowners feel about having these signs in the community.
On board with it. I understand what the intent is. Can we do it this way, Brian? Can we task the committee that which committee would it be? It would be
It'd be safety and security.
It'll be in safety and security. Let's do it this way. I think let's task safety and security with drafting the guidelines for the board and bring them back at a time certain.
I mean,
because
we're a new commit. I mean, we're a new HOA, and I believe I believe that we may not have the complete ability to understand, or to not to understand, but to draft such a policy and guidelines. I believe we need to lean into the management company, because they have hundreds of communities under their portfolio, so they have policies and procedures already at their disposal. So let's take what they currently have and let's look through it, and let's create our own policies and procedures and keep it moving.
I'm not, I'm that I'm being recorded, so I can't say it. The way I don't want to hang my hat on and saying that they have something that they don't. So I think what's going to have to happen here, and I'm on board with what we need to do. I think we're going to have to. Do the research and do the benchmarking and find a template of some guidelines. When we drafted the COI policy, conflict of interest policy, that's what we went online and did. We found a sample and we tweaked it to meet our needs. And I think that's what's going to have to happen in this place. I'm not comfortable relying on.
Well, I mean, can we ask?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying ask. I'm not saying don't ask the question.
Right.
But I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket.
If we ask and they come back and say they can't provide that, or they don't have that, then of course we'll go ahead and do the legwork, or the committee will do the legwork. That's fine. But I believe we should ask first.
Let me make sure that I'm understanding the two points of discussion on this. So on one hand, we're discussing asking the committee to do the research into what signs would be appropriate and what policies and procedures would be appropriate. And on the other hand, we are discussing utilizing the CAM and the management company to leverage from their experience with working with other communities, what signs and policies would be appropriate. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yes. Okay. So you will say yes. So really this boils down to whether or not we're going to ask the management company to do it, or whether the committee is going, the safety and security committee is going to do it.
I think you could take both paths. LaShawna, I think we can take both paths. You send Brenda a note and say, hey, in your experience, do you have yada 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 yada? And as a second path, a parallel path, you can have, because the committee is going to have to write them anyway. The committee is going to have to write them and draft them anyway. The guidelines to come back to the board that we flow up to the attorney for concurrence before we procure anything, right?
Okay, so I have to be the tiebreaker.
No, you're not a tiebreaker.
Well, I mean, we're still we're just in discussion and questions right now.
So we're just discussing. Okay, so my standpoint on this, my concern with engaging the committee right away is that they all have full-time jobs like we do. And they're going to be busy. And the reason why I would be more inclined to lean towards just initially contacting the management company is because that is their full-time job. And they should, I mean, I'm just being
honest. They get a good salary. They make a good salary off of us.
Y'all
I'm just being honest. That is their job.
Well, we pay them very well.
And they should have a library of that information with working with other communities because they're a management company. So I am inclined to utilize the management company as a first line of contact. And then if we needed to, absolutely, then bring in the committees. So-
I agree with that, Lashana. And what I would say is, I think Brenda comes in end of June, the next meeting. So my recommendation would be ask her now, have her to come when she comes in June, be prepared to share with us what she found. And based upon that, we can execute the parallel strategy, but let the committee know that they should be prepared to start to pivot, in their next meetings, because this is going to fall in their space. Does that make sense?
Question.
I see Brian's hand.
So what I'm hearing, Madam President, what I'm hearing Thomas say is to ask Brenda, who is a CAM, now to do this, or to research, and then wait until June 20th.
Sign up or some sort of
Hold on, can y'all
rules and
please mute
regulations
yourself, please?
for the
Wait till June 20th for her to come back and provide us with a report of what she found out. Why would we have to wait till June 20th? Why couldn't she report back immediately through email communication, so that way we can get this moving in a progressive and orderly fashion? I mean, I feel that we're kind of there's no sense of urgency, and there is a sense of urgency because I have grandkids, homeowners have children. They like to go to the pavilion, they like to go to the park, but I mean, there's at times it can be very messy, and I think we need to work with some urgency here.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. Then let's set the response date by, she's out Friday or whatever. Send a note tomorrow and give her till next Friday a week. Or figure out what she can find out.
Right, and then she also has assistants, since she's out, people covering. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to allow that to be an excuse.
No, it's
I
not an excuse.
understand. So I definitely understand. Your point.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, I would like to make a motion that an email is sent to the CAM to request that she provide insight on what types of signs, policies, and procedures that we can utilize in the community to make the entrance and the pavilion and other areas more safe. That email would go out, let's say no later than Friday. So that gives us time to draft it, discuss it, make any edits. And we give her a deadline of a week later, which would be Friday, June 17th.
Yep.
Thomas second. So I don't think we need to discuss it anymore, unless I see a hand. So all in favor?
Yes.
Hit okay, and Thomas shook his head yes, none opposed, so the motion passed. We will work on that memo and get it out no later than Friday. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. This was just a reminder for the homeowners that are participating this evening.
Donald Trump.
Excuse me, can you?
I'm sorry, Mr. Reginald, can you?
Oh, my phone's
mute your
on.
line? Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Um, the next item was just a reminder, unless the other directors would like to comment on it. But this is just a reminder that on next Thursday, June 16th, we're going to have a budget listening session so that homeowners will have an opportunity to address any concerns that they have with the budget. Our treasurer, Mr. Thomas McKeithen, will be running that meeting and presenting the draft FY 2023 budget. And it will be an open meeting for homeowners to discuss. So that was just a reminder.
I'm presenting it again.
Huh?
I'm presenting it again.
We, yes.
No, the deal was for everybody the deal was for everybody to
So
read.
what's happening? Did I misspeak?
Yeah, you
What's happening?
misspoke. Yeah, you misspoke. Let me
So you're
fix
not
this.
presenting it?
No,
What's happening?
let me fix this for you. What we
Okay.
we presented the draft budget in the draft one of the budget on May 18th. And we we posted it to the portal, and it was a part of the Brentwood Weekly. Y'all keep me honest on
Yes.
that week.
And it's posted on the
20,
portal.
and it's on the portal. The
Mhm.
listening session is for homeowners to come before the board and speak to us about their concerns about the budget, opportunities for improving, but enhancing the budget, or whatever changes or the things they would like to see as a part of the budget. I am open to doing a high level 15-minute, recap of what we discussed on the 18th, but it won't be a full blown, presentation. What folks need to do, please, is to come prepared, have read the documents, and tell us what we want to hear. Um, folks are going to have 2 minutes to address the board, and we want to hear from you. But I don't have a problem with doing like a high level thing, Michelle.
I am sorry.
So
I stand corrected,
you were
Mr.
told
Treasurer.
you see,
I stand corrected.
and that what we
I
agreed
do
to
make
do now.
mistakes. I do make mistakes. So I apologize, Mr. Treasurer. So on June 16th,
Thomas is fine.
there will be a very high level review, a very brief review of the draft budget for FY 2023 that was presented on May 18th. And then the floor will be opened up so that homeowners can ask questions and provide input, and the board will be there to listen and to answer your questions. So that is a reminder for next Thursday, June the 16th at 7 p.m. And Thomas, to confirm, the meeting link was sent to comms to be distributed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that is all on that. That was just a reminder. And the last item on the agenda, I am going to open the floor to Brian to address.
Thank you, Madam President. Homeowner violation citation and request for action letters. This is just to back brief or to update homeowners if they didn't receive a letter, or I'm sorry, didn't receive the actual rescind letter that the board of directors sent out. June 1st, the board of directors sent a spring inspection violation letters rescinded statement to homeowners that received either a architectural or maintenance violation. And I'll just read this letter really quickly here. So June 1st, 2022, spring inspection violation letters rescinded. Greetings, homeowners. On Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, the Board of Directors, BOD, voted and passed motions to rescind all architectural and maintenance violations that were used from the spring inspections. Items noted in the inspection report will be annotated within each homeowner's record to establish a baseline. However, there are no longer considered violations and no action is required by the homeowner. Architectural and maintenance items in existence prior to May 25th, 2022 are grandfathered in. Please note, beginning May 27th, 2022, if cited with a violation, the onus will be on the homeowner to provide documentation that proves a modification was previously approved by the board or that the work was completed prior to May 27th, 2022. Respectively, Thomas Lee McKeithen II, Treasurer, Brian Creighton, Senior Secretary, LaShawna Spencer, President.
Thank you, sir. At this time, if there are no late agenda items, hearing none, I'm going to move into the community engagement portion. The time now is 7:55 p.m. We will end the community input at 8:30 this evening. That is the end of our scheduled meeting, or when there are no longer any questions. At this time, we open up the floor to the homeowners. We ask that you raise your electronic hand and wait to be called upon before you speak. If you're not speaking, please mute your phone so we are able to hear the speaker. So you may begin raising your electronic hands now. Yes, sir. Ow.
I would ask that homeowners, if you could please state your name and address, if you feel comfortable stating your address for the record, please.
Okay. So I only see one hand right now. Whoops. And that's an iPhone. So you can unmute your phone.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Yes, hi. First of all, I wanted to thank the board for this Zoom meeting because I'm a very busy person like everyone else, including you and your families and everybody else. To the president and to the vice president, is that understanding?
The president, the treasurer, and the secretary.
Okay, yeah. So Ms. LaShawn, the president and the treasurer, Mr.
McKeithen is the
Mr. Keithan,
treasurer.
right, Mr. McKeithen, and also to Mr. Creighton, which I'm very familiar with from times past. So we've been friends for years since I moved into development, and invited him in as a good brother to be a part of this great community. So just to let you know, to each and every one of you, welcome to the community. I haven't had a chance to meet y'all in advance, but I'm just here to share and listen in finally on a lot of information. Y'all put out a lot of good information. And if you, I don't know how many people are waiting, but I want to just recap real quickly some of the information. I will try to get it out to an email, but a lot of the information you put out is very important to me and other homeowners. And since my family's been here since 2014, in February of 2014, and a lot of the homes that are in our area on Linden Grove, moving back into the back of the development of Brentwood, were not built. Okay, so I'm gonna go to page 1 here. That things that I took down some notes, but I'm just gonna highlight a couple of key things that y'all talked about. If you want to talk about those things, the 15-day. What you went to number 1. Go to your first agenda number 1. You talked about 15-day, no longer waiting there for the primary homeowners. I think that you need to add in there the holidays. Is that going to be included? Where is that 15 days going to include federal holidays and things like that, so they don't get confused that I got 15. I think it's better to say I have 15 business days versus the calendar days, because calendar days call into Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. If you specifically state 15 business days, then that's up to the homeowner to understand the difference between 4-day weekend, holidays, things like that. You're gonna get that extra days of leeway but you have 15 business days to complete that process. That's what I wanted to talk about, number one.
Thank
see
you
here.
for that suggestion, sir. We will make a note of that and go
Okay.
back and address that.
Okay, and then what's this? Looking at let me go back to drive to the house and get this sign. I made a lot of notes, so I'm just recapping real quick. I know you're on the timeline with the Zoom. Okay, I'll wait for that part. I can put this together in an email. I'm looking at you had something to say about May 20th and July 20th. There was 2 dates that was presented there. That was up there with the first part of the minutes. I'm going back down to the art positions. Email will be open, will be changed. So we will know who that new person will be for the art person, for architectural designs and things like that. The email will be sent out.
Yes, sir. So right now we sent out a request last week for volunteers, homeowners to be volunteers for the chair of the Architectural Review Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Management Committee. We requested that those interested in volunteering would send their information to the board email address by this Friday. So we are still accepting names at this time. After Friday, we will review all of the submissions that we've received. And the board actually selects the chairs for a 1-year term. And so once we make our selections, there will be an email that goes out to notify the community who the new chair is.
All right, thank you very much. I'm a busy guy, like most people are within the community, but as a young lad, before I joined the military, I used to do construction. And I've done a lot of construction over my time, whether I was in the military, out of the military, or in the military. And so I built houses from the ground up. And I've owned several homes in different parts of the world, in different parts of the country. I take care of the property of those that I lease from or rent from, which I haven't done too much because I try to be a homeowner more than leasing property. So that's a very important stickler, right? So I would like to volunteer my time, even if I'm not part of the actual committee for the architecture, that if necessary, I will put my name in the hat if necessary, because I'm a part of the community. And I know everybody has a different way of, personality. I like your glasses, by the way. I like your glasses. And I like the treasurer's glasses that I can't see his eyes like he's on BET. But I'm a comedian sometimes, but just to let you know, everybody has their own personality, their own reflection of what they want for the color and design of their house. That's why they go to the developer to design their house and their property. So there's certain specifics that will contrast outside the house, but I don't think it will take away from the community if we research and understand what they're putting into the property, because they want to make that their home. And we don't want to distract folks from doing certain things through that process to be a part of this community that we have in the community, because it can become something that is considered years ago of thinking in my mindset. I mean, I got a beard. I'm an older guy. Like I said, I've been around the world. I've seen a lot of different countries. Just to let you know, people have their own way of putting their stamp on that. So real quick.
Yes, sir. So I would invite you to submit your information to the board if you're interested in being considered for the chair. And even if you're not interested or may not have the time to actually be the chair, to volunteer on the committee and be a committee member.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. So.
And one more thing, because we have to move.
I know. So I'm going to get to the highlights. And I got the highlights on the back. And it comes down to part of what you were saying about safety, right? The signs and stuff that Mr. Creighton was talking about, posting for the pavilion and things like that. I understand that process. And I know that the price may increase for the HOA. once the budget has been identified, that these are things that are being asked for by a lot of the people in the community that should be a part of the community. And my basic thing is crosswalks where buses are picking up and pass and children are crossing the street. And people don't pay attention to the sign of 25 miles an hour. I'm gonna tell you it's not a factor. We don't have humps in the road where you got to, slow down and stop. So either or, but we need to identify some type of way of identifying, putting signs for the safety of our children in the community. So if someone violates those crosswalks, if somebody violates those signs and a child is injured or killed, then they have no recourse, because we have an open gated community, and that's part of my process too with that budget, that times are changing. And if we had a gated community where we know who's coming inside, and when they're coming inside, there's cameras monitoring those people that are coming inside our community. If something happens where there's violence or something else, they can't leave the community until our company, Charles County, our protectors, come inside and protect us further from any other violence, regardless of what. I'll stop right there with that about the pavilions and the trash can. So like you said, dusk to dark or whatever, then you should be able to have a sign roster if you're using it. But even in the daytime, if you're not signing for the weekday, the kids want to go and play, they need to have some place to go. We don't have a swimming pool area. We don't have a pavilion over there for a swimming pool in this development. A lot of people do, but it would be nice if we had something like that, if we're going to increase the HOA, because other communities have it, and that may help us protect our kids and give us a more vibrant community for people that may leave. And then we talk about leasing property versus people coming in and repurchasing the property. They keep our community vibrant. That's important, that we keep it vibrant. Seasonal decorations is on my list. Since I've been here in 2013, I've never seen that one American flag for Memorial Day, not one Christmas light on the poles that we have. I finally got my light fixed where it doesn't blink off and on. The light pole is outside my house, but that's something different. But we need to have some type of decor for holiday seasons to show that our community is a part of what's happening outside of our community, not just we got some flowers there. So decorations are very important. We could have a community watch program where people volunteer to walk around and just check and see certain things, bring it back to the community, so we can figure that part out. But at the same time, call Charles County Popo. They're my friends. Since I've been here, people call me the mayor, and I've kept the community safe as best as I can, as well as keeping my kids safe. So, we have a community watch program where we watch out and look. If you see something, say something. That's just a common thing. Real quick, members need to be more aware of the concerns of the potential violence in our neighborhood. I talked about that. Now, you said something about the budget thing coming up. I talked about that, the security gate, improving the privacy thing, but I want to get back to the art process. That
Okay,
statement
so
that,
sir, I'm gonna have
real
to
quick,
cut you off
real
after
quick,
this.
President,
Okay.
President,
Okay.
real quick. You got me online. I'm talking. So thank you very much. I want one thing to say that Mr. Creighton said. I want some clarification about that rescinded Godfather in. My daughter's birthday was March the 5th of this year. She turned 5 years old. And I submitted some paperwork. It came back, well, I can't submit only one requirement. I put the fence on there, I put the playground on there, and one other item, and I got sent back to say it got to be separated. Why I got to send 3 different documents when I'm giving you all the information you need on one document? So
Oh, sir.
somebody from the art committee to review.
So I'm gonna answer that one.
Answer that question, please.
I hear you. And I'm gonna try to. So we fixed the form. We fixed the form so that now it's more project based, where you can select up to 3 project types per application. So again, it was a pilot. I think that if you submitted yours on March 5th, you probably did not. The online system wasn't up in March.
It wasn't working well. You're right.
Right. It was in March. So it's new, and one of the things when it went live, that was an
It's technology.
enhancement that we wanted to put in place. So now you
It's
can
technology.
submit, yeah, you can submit up to three
Okay.
project, I mean, up to three architectural changes
All right.
in one application. Okay.
All right.
And so we're working to improve it. Give us some time, and we're gonna get it right. We've been,
We all gonna get it right, but my
I-
question is now, I've been waiting since March. My daughter turned 5 in March, and I got put on hold with my project since March, waiting on this process. So my process is, if I'm a grandfather there, if not, I'm gonna finish my project, and I will talk to whomever legally or whatever. I don't waited long enough through the process, and this and that and that. Keep asking me questions. It's a simple platform. I'm gonna put dirt on it, put artificial grass on it, elevate my yard, and build my daughter's playhouse. I've been sitting in my garage since March. That's not a good thing to do for a 5-year-old. And that's the last thing I want to say. I'll talk to y'all again soon. I know you're
Thank you,
running out
So,
of time.
sir, before you disconnect, I just need some
Yes.
clarification. So did you,
What do you need?
you were saying you already submitted a ARC application and you're waiting
s-
for approval?
I submitted the application and it came back like he just stated that I can't submit all three, the fence, the playground, and something else, all on one application. I'm like, I gave you the plot. I put the diagrams for the fence. I put the diagram for the playhouse. I put it all on one thing with all the details. And then you come back and tell me I got to separate all that. I'm a busy man. Now you want me to go back and separate it. Why? Why do I
that
need to separate that?
that was a paper-based form because the form didn't go live until late March. So if
I
you
sent
submit,
it, my wife sent it electronically, and then I sent it by email to Brenda. I sent
all
it by
right,
email to Brenda, and she sent it electronically based on your system, the system that's in place. Well, all I'm trying to say is this right now. I got the letter coming to me now telling me that certain things is grandfathered in before May 25th. All I'm trying to say is I'm on this line for one reason only. I'm tired of having to take the time out of my business schedule and my wife to resubmit stuff for my daughter before the summer goes away. For my kids can't go outside and play. They only gonna be 5. My sons are 7 and 8. They're not gonna be kids forever.
I
I
understand.
need somebody to look at my yard, drive by here, come over here, look at what that's sitting there. I need somebody to tell me I can move forward with that grandfather process because otherwise I'm gonna build it and we'll go to court. That's all I got to say.
All right,
I'm
sir.
done. I'm
Thank you,
done
Sir,
with that.
so,
Thank you.
so Thomas, can we work on looking into that?
Yeah,
Sir,
let's look.
can
Let's
you
look.
email
Put your address in the.
your address
Yeah.
I'm done.
and your contact information and
You
Thomas,
can
can
ask
we?
Mr. Creighton. Mr. Creighton knows my address. Mr. Creighton is my friend. He lives down the street. We've been friends for a long time. My kids are calling me right now.
So,
He lives down the street. He knows my address.
We'll
Billy,
get it
Please
sorted.
understand.
Billy.
I'm frustrated right now, and I apologize for getting frustrated with such nice people on this channel. So I'm gonna get off the Zoom and let y'all continue your business. I second and third their motion.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. So Brian, Thomas, can we work together to
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
look
Sure.
into that and try to get this resolved?
Yes.
Thank you. I do not see any other hands up. If you have a question or I see Mr. Clinton, he is
Yes.
raising his finger. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, I lost connection on my iPad and I had to come back. And I missed a part of his question, but my concern is I think the previous
I'm back.
gentleman spoke about was safety in the community. My safety request is the speed of people that's driving through. And I know for a fact, I drive fast, not in this community when I get on the highway. Okay. And I notice people coming through the streets driving 40 miles per hour. And when they get out on 229, they're still doing 40 or 35. And my concern is about kids. I have a lot of kids, but they're not here. They don't live with me where they're grown. But and I know I'm probably one of the oldest residents, not in time here, but in age. And a lot of times, I know previous development I was in, they was concerned about speed humps because of emergency vehicles. Well, I would rather for the emergency vehicle to be 3 minutes late getting to me than for a child to be hit, injured, or killed. And that really bothers me. So anything that I could do, I'm new. This is my first time on the Zoom. I was late getting information and so forth. So anything to do to help or that I can do, I would volunteer and would be willing to help.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I would invite you to join the Safety and Security Committee meetings. The chair is Mr. Ernest Jones, and Mr. Creighton, Brian Creighton, he is the board liaison for that committee. So he can assist you with getting the information so you can join that committee. The Safety and Security Committee has been looking into the speeding issue. I had a neighbor contact me today that lives on Bancroft, that is also a new homeowner, and that was very taken back by someone riding their bumper down Bancroft and then speeding around them. And he's actually a cop, so he wasn't too happy. So we definitely have the Safety and Security Committee looking into that. And like I said, Brian is the liaison for that board. If you had anything else to add to that response, Brian.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Clinton, I echo your observation. There's just way too many people speeding through our community. Safety and Security is constantly taking a look. Safety and Security Committee is constantly taking a look and working on different strategies that we could do as a community to try to mitigate the speeding, such as working with the Charles County Sheriff's Office to bring in the speed sign, and they usually put it either in the front of the community or sometimes it's going to be in the back. So just different strategies like that. We would love for you to be a part of the Safety and Security Committee. If you have the time, please join the committee. You bring some good ideas and we welcome you to the committee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next we have Kenya's iPhone.
Hi, my question is like rather quick because I have like two short little best friends here ready for bed, but I submitted an ARC request and I don't know if I missed this, so I apologize in advance, but typically what's your turnaround time? We just moved in April, so I don't know like all of the processes yet and never been in the HOA. So basically, what's the turnaround time for a response once the request is submitted on the portal?
Hi, Kenyon. Good evening. Welcome to the community.
Hey,
Hey, welcome. When's the housewarming? Okay, you gotta let us know when the housewarming is.
I get some furniture first. Okay?
Yeah. That's the most important thing. As my father told me when I bought my first house, sit on the floor and sit on the floor. Because there's one bill that comes every month. We all know what that is, right?
There you go.
But in all seriousness, we have 45 days to review your request. We got 45 days to review your request. If you send us a note to the board's email address, Brentwood HOA BOD @gmail.com. Let's kind of figure out where yours is. Yours may have been already approved. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, it was a fairly simple request. Nothing grand. Like I said, we just moved in, so.
You're welcome.
Welcome
All right.
to the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome
You
to the
guys have a
community.
good night. I have to run.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good one.
You too. I don't see any more hands at this time. So one last call, if you would like to address the board, please raise your electronic hand so you can be acknowledged. Is that someone talking?
I heard somebody. Maybe.
I want to just come back real quick, being that nobody's there, just to do my woosah. After, all my time of being in the military, to let you know that I really appreciate the time that I have with y'all tonight. It's just that I got a lot of emotions going on in my family that you're probably not aware of. Mr. Creighton is aware of, and taking care of my family. And my family is not just my family in this house. My family is everybody in this community since I've been a part of it since 2013. We've been harmonizing, we've been celebrating, we've been hanging out and having so much fun. People walk past the house and run past the house. It's not a day that I'm not outside. Everybody's like, okay, Bill's doing something to his yard. I got to get my yard up to speed. So cars parking on the road. I know people had a problem with the Enterprise truck. I talked to the owner of the truck that's operating the truck. He's a part of the community. Talked to Charles County folks. They came out for somebody called them. And obviously the truck was legally parked. And I asked him, I say, if you could just pull it back there where the dead end is, face it back out, you shouldn't have any issues. And I think that the word needs to get out to people in the community to know that the truck has been approved with Charles County and it's not violating anything for the HOA for the development is concerned, for the size of that vehicle, that gentleman can go to work and take care of his two sons and walk and drive his car the way he's at. But with that said, there are other vehicles that are parked on the road. When I first moved in, I was told your cars, your vehicles must be on the other side of the driveway sidewalk in your driveway. And we're doing the whipping it out. And places I've done the whipping it out is in Germany. That's normal in Germany because they don't have parking spaces. But everyone in the development, maybe I might be wrong, but somebody can please clarify for me that if you have a vehicle that's yours, it should be in your driveway or someplace where it's not a process. I understand holidays and weekends. People understand that in the neighborhood. Everybody understands that. But on a day-to-day basis, having to dig around and look around cars and curves in the neighborhood on Bancroft and on Linden Grove, it could cause an accident or it shouldn't be that way. That's all I got to say. Give me some feedback.
So Brian, I will let you speak to that for safety and security.
Thank you, Madam President. So Mr. Young, your concerns are valid. Thank you for bringing them to the attention of the board of directors. We would love to have you as part of the Safety and Security Committee to work in that committee because, again, you're bringing ideas and solutions. I will definitely go back to the committee, to the Safety and Security Committee with your concerns and have them look at them and flesh them out and see where we can make the improvements from a community's perspective.
Yes, again, thank you very much, Mr. Creighton, because again, we know weekends and people having holidays, it's going to be a lot of cars in the neighborhood. I love to see a lot of cars in the neighborhood when it's holidays. I just want to get invited over for the big game. But I'll get invited over. I'll walk down the street. But with regular day-to-day, with buses trying to come in, and we still have large commercial vehicles coming in, like Amazon and other contractors that are commercial vehicles coming in the neighborhood. Some places, even if it's a bus, let's go back to the school bus. The bus can get inundated where it can't get to where it's supposed to get to at the designated parking bus stops to pick up children. So as you know, up around your area, it's really condensed in there. So the bus has done some things, but I'm just saying, overall, the policy when I moved in was your vehicle must be in your driveway above the sidewalk so people can walk on the sidewalk so that you're not interfering with the normal flow of traffic, people pulling in and out in the neighborhood. So if that's still a process, I haven't been a while since I looked at that, but if that still was Ryan's home policy, I want somebody to review that, to check that, because people question and say, no, I could park
Yes, sir.
my
Yes,
truck.
sir.
All right,
Yes,
thank you very
sir.
much.
Yes, sir. We will make sure that we address that and we research that. Thank you very much for raising those concerns. At this time, I do not see any more hands, so I am making a motion to adjourn this meeting. The time now is 8:25. I just saw a hand go
I'm
up.
sorry, Madam President, there is one hand that's raised. Christine.
I just saw Christina's phone. This is going to be the last question of the evening. Christina's phone, you have the floor.
Hi, yeah, my name is actually Christian. Yeah,
I'm
no problem.
sorry.
I live on 8843 Bancroft Drive. I'm not sure if this is the proper place to address this, but I was curious. I'm having sort of an issue with my neighbor that just sprung up last week. And I mean, I sort of want some sort of assistance with it. I'm not trying to make things worse. They have an issue with, our packages going to their front lawn because I guess the delivery people get the addresses mixed up, and they've been, making accusations that I'm purposely putting their address on my packages and that I've been stealing from them, which obviously not the case. Tried to talk to them reasonably, but have just been cursed out and harassed essentially. Don't want to make things worse. I just sort of want to settle it. Is there, some person I can speak to? I don't really want to get in contact with my neighbor. It was a very awful experience. I just wanted it to end. It was 15 minutes of them screaming at me. Now I'm trying to understand them, but at some point I got frustrated when they started making accusations that, we're stealing and doing, suspicious stuff. And that the next time it happens, they'll break my packages if it goes to the front porch is what they said. So is there someone I can speak to about something like this?
That is, I don't really know how to answer that. Brian, do you have any suggestions?
Let's get his information and have a conversation
Okay.
in a more private setting, please.
Okay. So sir, can you email the board? It's Brentwood HOA BOD, all one word, @gmail.com. And we can work
Okay, yeah, sorry,
with
I
you
got the
privately.
information down.
Yes, we can work with you privately to see what we can do to help you resolve this issue.
First thing he should contact is the moving company or whatever delivery company is delivering his products.
Okay. All right. So I am going to adjourn this meeting. It is 8:28 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And meeting minutes will be uploaded in the near future. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.